What's going on? How is everybody? Dingle McGee, welcome to my stream, bro. Hope you're having a good day. You working still? Ooh, Recruit's here. What's happening, Recruit? Welcome to the stream. I think this is your first time in the stream, no? How's the weather in Holland? Hopefully you're doing well over there. If it is the same Recruit that I think it is. It's sunny. Well, fantastic. It is the same Recruit I'm thinking of then. Pardon me. What time is it in Holland at the moment? Because you guys are 6-7 hours ahead of us, if I'm not mistaken. Dingle must be working. I'm going to guess Dingle McGee's working. It's 5:11. So that puts you, 6 hours. Yeah, I figured as much. Well, thanks for joining us, Recruit. I'm going to wait. Dingle's here. I'm off today, but I've worked the past 4 days. Ooh, that's not so bad. How long are you off for? You got a couple days, or are you just chilling for the day? We're going to kind of hang out and wait for a couple more folks to show up, see if anyone else wants to pop in, because it's still early. Today we're going to talk about community a little bit. I do have a couple of guests in stream that we're going to chat with in a momento. So stay tuned for that. Appreciate everyone who's here already. Who do we got? We got Recruits here. Dingle. Nice. Nice indeed. We have a little Smurfette in the building. Hey, we'll say hi real quick. Let's see who's in studio today. Say hello, Marika.
Hello.
Hello. And her husband.
Hello.
So Craig will pop. It's Marika and Craig. This is my daughter and my son-in-law. A couple of days off. Oh, nice. They're going to be here joining us today. We're going to talk about, we're going to revisit a topic we talked about, a year ago, and that's community. We're going to talk a little bit about, particularly in light of what we're all experiencing right now. When? Right now. The idea that community is something other than this physical presence. We're trying to figure out what community is in light of the fact that we can't see each other physically at the moment. Obviously, Twitch and other platforms like that are a bit of a different thing. Dingle says hi. You can talk. You have a microphone.
I know.
It's one of those things where community is, and we are 4.5 feet apart, but we're immediate family, so I guess we're good, eh? This whole social distancing thing.
I mean, I try to social distance from you anyway.
That's, long story. So in light of, no problem, Recruit. In light of everything that is going on in the world right now, we figured we'd talk come back around this idea of community and what it is and how it impacts the things that we are doing currently. Not just in the empty streets and things like that, but indeed the homes that we live in, because community is being stretched at the moment.
Yeah.
Because
in the physical sense.
you guys are lucky in the sense that at least one of you is still working, right? So someone's out of the house most of the day.
Wish it was me. I'm going crazy.
So I mean, we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk a little bit about the effect of doing nothing. My light's too bright, I think.
I'm just too pale.
No, my light, my physical
Oh.
light's too bright, I think, because my green screen is not liking me.
I was going to say,
Give me a sec. Let me adjust. Because if it's too bright, I start getting all wonky. All right.
This computer is so laggy. Or just behind.
It's behind. There's a it's done. There's a stream lag intentionally. Craig, that knob on the back of the light, can you turn it so it goes brighter for me? No, my light. Yeah, that way. Keep going. Go. And good, thank you. I don't blame her. You smell like duty. Yeah, well, come on, Dingle. Be nice to me. I'm old, Dingle. I'm a boomer.
No, you're not.
I know. I'm totally not.
Nowhere near.
So the logical question to start off today is, what's a community? What's your definition of community? And you didn't know there was going to be a test today, did you? So if I say to you, hey, we are in community, what does that mean to you?
Just a bunch of people that like each other.
That like each other? So if you're in community, you have to like each other? I'm gonna push back. Oh, say that again, Craig?
I wouldn't go that far.
You wouldn't go that far.
I mean, I think a community is a group of like-minded people who enjoy each other, whether it's in physical contact or through like what you do, which is like streaming and stuff.
Sure. So it's fair to say that there are different types of community then.
Yeah.
So there can be a community of chess players. There can be a community of streamers. Community of blue-haired people. Smurfette. What's up, Morg? Welcome to the stream, kiddo.
Morg.
Pardon me. The reality is that people can be in community and not necessarily like each other. I would say.
I mean, but
because there are people in this community that don't like me.
Right, but I think for it to be a strong community and a community that you identify with,
Sure.
typically you like each other.
So I didn't ask the question, what's a strong community?
Well,
I asked, what's a community, right?
Okay.
So that's a different question. So that's important to ask. So when we say what is community, we have to then ask what makes a successful community. So you can have community. Take people who get married, for example. You recently experienced this. Hey, what's up, Pickle? Yeah, you can ask a question. What's up, buddy? Before we get too deep into this, what do you want? How much do you love me on a scale of 1 to 10? Well, I'd say you're pretty much a solid 9.5. I mean,
dang, you outrank me.
You're up there, Pickle. I mean, you're a pretty decent dude. If I factor everything in, you're a solid 8. If I factor in your best days, 9.5. Yeah, that's a solid wow. Okay, continue. Thank you. That's I'm glad you.
That seemed so urgent.
If you haven't subscribed to OG Pickle yet, you got to subscribe to OG Pickle. There are some. I'll show you clips later.
Okay.
He's a solid dude. Solid. Funny as all get up. He just got partnered as well, so he's.
Oh, really?
He's official.
Was that with Twitch, right?
Yeah, with Twitch, he's officially rich.
So he's gonna put us in our will in his
Yeah,
will, right?
yeah, he's we're good.
We're getting some of
good.
that.
Yeah, Ferrari's inbound. So community doesn't necessarily have to be a group of people. If she turns around,
Oh,
a
what?
lot of things.
I don't.
Yeah. So if you look at all the things behind you,
Oh.
that's
Right.
OG Pickle, right?
Well, that's not.
But OG Pickle makes all of those. That's his company.
Oh.
He's the merch guy.
Oh, okay.
So that Theron Savage shirt up there,
That's Asher's. I bought that for him.
that's OG Pickle made that shirt.
You made that,
That's OG Pickle's shirt.
dude.
That's Merch Mitch. What's up, Insightful Nick? Nice to see you here, buddy. So
I
that
didn't
you
know
bought that shirt, what, 10 years ago?
I
At
bought
least.
it for Asher, like when at the peak
Of
when
Logan Paul. Yeah.
came out.
That
Yeah.
OG Pickle.
Damn,
This is him.
guy.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Is that
I
pretty?
see you.
So Pickle and I go way back.
Apparently.
You introduced me to Pickle, apparently.
I
It's her,
didn't even know.
It's her fault, Mitch. She did it. But yeah, that's he does all that stuff.
Okay.
He didn't do the PUBG frying pan up there,
Right,
but all the
Thayer
t-shirts.
bought that for Christmas.
Yeah, that was my gag gift, I think.
Yeah, that was good.
So community, to me, when I talk about community, typically we're talking about things like a common location. So Jackson,
Right.
Jackson, Michigan. We are a community of people.
Civilization.
Yeah. Similar characteristics in that we all hold common nationalities or similar-ish nationalities, right? For the most part, the vast majority of people here are American citizens.
Right.
Right? It could be that you just have a feeling of belonging, i.e. this is my community. Like, Craig, you've been here your entire life. So this community is home to you. So if you went to Canada, where we're from, it wouldn't necessarily feel like your home, your community right away, right?
Yeah.
It would. Yeah, it's just it's
I don't know,
different,
he
right?
really liked it.
I do really like it. Yeah, I do really like it over there.
Yeah, no problem, Pickle. I appreciate you, buddy. I'm still waiting for my Choco Taco socks. Ordered a pair of Choco Taco socks. Pretty awesome. I can't wait. I'm gonna rock those bad boys. I'm gonna make hand puppets on stream with them.
Oh, please don't.
Total sock puppet with Choco Taco socks. It's gonna be great. But a community can also have things like common interests, right? Could be
Right.
church, could be,
Sports.
like sports, all that kind of stuff, right? So, I mean, so let me ask you again. So when I say to you, what is community? Do those things kind of change your perception of what community is a little bit?
I mean,
From what you initially were thinking the question
it
was?
just broadens the spectrum of what I was initially thinking, but it doesn't necessarily change it. It just, because you were just talking broader and I was
Yeah, yeah.
narrowing it down.
So chat. So that question for you: is there anything on that you would add to that list when I say what is community? What things pop into your mind? And Craig, feel free to add to this if you want as well. So as we are talking about community, there are certain things that make community easy. Church, yeah, religion definitely could be one of those things. Pardon me, because one of the hardest things very often in one of the biggest wedges that can be put into communities as well is church, is the faith aspect of things. It really is beholden of the faith-based communities to draw those lines as thin as possible, so that people don't feel pushed to the margins. They play with or do something together that they both like.
Excuse me.
Yeah, just searching for things to do with each other. Yeah, for sure, especially in a time like this. So this is kind of what brings this up for me today. Is this idea of Twitch right now has really pulled this community together. The idea that we are really searching for ways, I think, to stay in community, to have chats with each other, to support each other,
Yeah.
right? Sorry, and especially in light of when dramatic things happen in our lives, like at this time when we can't leave our homes, we can't be close to our loved ones, when people are, when friends or family pass away, when friends or family get sick, we can't just immediately rush to their side and be with people and be with our family when things like that happen. And a good friend of mine had a mother pass away this past week, and just hearing that story and knowing that he couldn't necessarily be with her all of the time.
Right.
It's just it's hard. When you think of
Yeah.
our own, because we as a family have gone through a lot of loss ourselves lately, in the past
Right.
5 or 6 years, right? Could you imagine in the midst of all that, not being able,
have to.
right? Because we were
Yeah.
trapped. Several times we've been trapped
Yeah.
in this country, and not been able to go home. And yeah, exactly. You with Grandma Sue definitely experienced that.
Yeah.
So and then that leads to my next question. What are some of the challenges of community? What are some of the hard things that community can bring about? Right? And again, these are all questions for you guys as well, so chime in as you see fit.
Honestly, I feel like both the best thing and the worst thing about community is the emotional connection you get to people. Because obviously it's great when it's great, but when it's not, it hurts a lot.
Yeah.
So,
So like, and again, that is in any community.
yeah.
So you can have
Whether you like people or not.
breakdown of relationship, right? Where you get into a situation where, things are swimmingly. I was going to bring up the marriage thing when Pickle came in. This idea of when you first get married, you're in the honeymoon phase, everything's great, and then suddenly you're in bed and you get somebody farts in the covers for the first time. Well, that you know, suddenly the marriage breaks down. You know, at least in my marriage for the past 20 some odd years, it's, you know, it's been absolute terror. Not for me, obviously, because I'm not the receiver, I'm the giver. But the reality, it's funny, I'm watching you on the camera here, and I see you just looking at Craig, giving him dirty looks. Everything. What the hell are you doing, man? This community is breaking down right now. Yes, it is. I just want bacon. You know, when you talk about community, there's a whole bunch of things that go into the idea of building a community, right? So community doesn't just happen. It happens because people decide to get together. Much like marriage, you know, you come into relationship because of a decision that you make. Hey, will you marry me? Yes, I'll marry you. And then so this big thing happens, right? And there has to be what I'm calling motivation to do that.
Right.
Right?
Because you don't just do it for the sake of doing it necessarily.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have to have a common motivation for coming into community. And as Pickle said, with the whole, we'll stick with church for a second, you typically come together because you believe in the same God. You know,
right?
You don't have Muslims and Hindus and all these other people going to the same church.
Right.
Right. You have typically all like-minded people with the same motivations going to the church. So let's see what Mom is saying here. I wonder if she's watching the stream today and actually commenting.
I was gonna say, I feel like Recruit is kind of touching on having people like going out and reaching to people with intent, because like he's saying, like, I have a group of people that really helped me when his girlfriend broke up with him, and they help him, and that's like a community. The
question is, how does community help you in that situation?
Well, they give you emotional support.
How though?
By listening.
How does community provide you with emotional support? And there's definitely an answer there to that.
To let you know you're not in it alone.
Yeah, so community, the whole idea or concept of community in the first place is this idea of togetherness.
Right.
Right? The fact that you have people that are like you, right? In some form, could be geographic, could be faith-based, could be, the language I speak, right? Could be any number of things, because it's one thing to have somebody in the room with you, but if they don't speak the same language as you, they're not going to be much comfort to you. Right. I mean, it doesn't mean they can't come and give you a hug and emotionally be there for you. But, as Recruit just said, it's just to talk about it. Well, you have to have a community for that to happen, because, Recruit, we're lucky, being from Holland, that you speak such good English.
Right. Otherwise, this would be pointless.
The reality is, you're just watching a guy in a blue shirt and a girl with blue hair talk about.
With a blue background.
Yeah, with a blue background. Talk about, God knows what, because you don't understand a lick of it. But the reality is you do. And so it makes community happen. So there are definitely barriers to community. Let's see what else. So back to the word motivation. So when we talk about motivation, we're also talking about participation. Mm-hmm. So if use the marriage analogy again. So if as a husband I go to your mom and I say, "Will you marry me?" because I want to get married, but she's like, "Well, I really don't want to." So her motivation and her desire to participate in that engagement is lacking.
Right.
So it's very likely that community, even if she gets married to me, is going to be thin. Mm-hmm. So for there to be good community, healthy community, there has to be active participation.
Right.
So what does participation in community typically look like? So when I say to you that you have a community that participates with each other, what does that mean? And this is a tough one. So this is one I'm really looking for you guys in chat to add to, right? Because when I say that community is participating, so, and again, and I'm okay with the context of Twitch. I'm okay with having this conversation in the context of this community. But, I mean, you can also talk about it from the context of family, or you can talk about it from the context of literally Jackson County or whatever you want, the state, the USA, Holland, whatever you want to have the context in. But You roast each other more. Yeah, that could be
Yeah.
it too. Yeah.
That is a very active participation.
And we do a lot of that, don't we? Especially when Dingle's here, the big nerd, 6'6", that's a
Jeez
lot of
Louise.
nerd, I tell you right now. So when we talk about participation, what does that mean to you? When I say this community participates or this community does not participate, what does that mean?
I don't know, just like a one-sided conversation, whether it's like politically, like in terms of like if you talk like a state as a community or a city as a community, like when the people speak out about an issue that they think is an issue or whatever, but then the person in charge just kind of goes, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not a good community in my mind. Versus, or like in the terms of family, like if there's an issue, you go and once again an issue, you go and talk with them. Like you don't just, like you say you're sorry and you apologize and you make amends, kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah.
Or whatever.
So Recruit he's used this point a couple times now, this idea of talking. In my opinion, just talk and have a good chat with and do stuff with each other, right? And he said talk about when his girlfriend broke up with him, this idea of talking again. So is it I'll give you a big hint. Your dad does a big part of this.
What, discipline?
Well, yes. The band hammer is large with this one. But the reality is it's not just talking. So a large part of community is not just talking, it's doing.
Right. Physical.
It's the actual act of reciprocal. So this is a harder concept to kind of grasp, but it is definitely one that is a vital part of community. It's a reciprocal thing. So when you get married, it isn't a very one-sided thing. The idea of marriage is I'm just not going to come and I'm going to give you everything. The idea is that you're then going to return that in some form or
Right.
fashion.
Well,
right?
on that topic, because like, I don't know if you've heard about the love languages or whatever.
Yeah, we talked about it on stream quite a bit.
Yeah, like Craig, his love language is based on what we talked about. I don't know. Is very, I do stuff and you do stuff for me, and that's how I feel appreciated and that's how I feel loved. So when I keep up on chores and stuff like that, which as you know I'm very bad at,
I didn't know.
he feels very appreciated and he feels loved and like, yay, we're doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas,
yeah, church.
Whereas,
Completely.
like, for me, it's a lot of just, like, I just want to touch you.
Uh-huh.
So...
They can't see that, by the way. Makeup smeared.
Yeah. So, it's, like, learning those curves of, like...
Yeah, absolutely. And community is not always about you. Sometimes it's about showing people you're willing to do something that wouldn't be your first choice. Yeah, so Dingle's talking about sacrificial,
Yeah.
right? Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, he said sacrifice.
Yeah, that idea of is what am I willing to do for you that is uncomfortable, right?
Right.
So when we talk
chores.
like chores, yeah, I like sweeping. The reality there is very often. So when we moved here, let's back up one step.
10 years.
10 years ago, when we moved from Canada to here, this was not our community. And we found out very quickly that this community, right, that we moved into was willing to live sacrificially on our behalf because we didn't have income. I was full-time in school. All that stuff was going on.
Right.
And not only did our church, but our community actively pursued ways to support us, whether it
Right.
be financial support or help with whatever. You know what I mean? And even now that we run this nonprofit, right, since we launched this and whatnot, now we really see the idea of community participation.
Yeah.
So in the context of what I would then call missional living, sacrificial living, is this idea that community really is member participation. Do those who live in community, be a part of community, and again, Twitch is a perfect microcosm of this. Is we come along, we hear of somebody who is hurting, we hear of somebody who is getting married, morgue meme, right? Getting married soon and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, thanks for being here, Jackson. Appreciate you. So the community rallied around her. So it's OG Pickle and another streamed. Coyote, I think it was more. Correct me if I'm wrong. Him and Coyote streamed, and they took donations and they gave all the donations to her for her wedding.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was really, really sweet. So the idea there is you have a community that is there to support each other. And like I said, a member of our community lost his mother last week.
Right.
And I mean, just hearing people messaging me saying, hey, have you heard? And this idea of trying to get a community of people to pray around this guy and his family at that time was, yeah, I mean, really in that situation, Morg, I probably would have cried too. That's so awesome that, that they,
weddings are expensive.
that they do that for you. Yeah, they are.
Especially when you import.
My husband just said, especially when you import.
Especially when you import, yeah. I bought from another country. Goats and sheep don't pay for this one. Although I gave all my goats and sheep. Yeah, depending on how you do the wedding. In Jackson, we when we did your wedding, we did it really fast. For one, it was like all put together in like 6 weeks. But the reality is, it was a gorgeous wedding. It was done really well. You looked amazing. Craig was decent. He showered. It was nice. But the reality was, it was a great setting. It ended up being a phenomenal day.
Yeah, a little humid, but it was.
It was a little warm. But the reality is, it's summertime. You get what you get, right?
But we had that community to pull it off.
Yes, and that is exactly the point. Yes, it's phenomenal what happens when you have a community of people, and especially when you have, relatively new community, because we were just getting to know your folks really well and that sort of stuff. And the fact that the moms were even close to working together was phenomenal to me.
Yeah.
But the reality is, it worked, and things happened, and it all got paid for, and we had a nice reception, and
pulls together somehow.
yeah, and now here we are all these years later.
All these years, it's only been 2.
It's been 3. I was gonna say, thank you.
3.
Okay, it's 3 in June.
The end of 3.
No, July.
You're entering into your 4th year.
July.
Entering into the fourth, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're finishing out your 3rd year currently.
18. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. there we go.
What?
Math.
I failed.
So
that.
there's one fundamental piece that we still haven't talked about when we talk about community. So there's something in this stream right now that that makes this work. Communication, yeah.
I don't know.
Who's in charge?
Me.
Let me ask again. Clearly, communication is not your strong suit.
No.
Children run your life. You didn't know
Yes,
this?
children do run my life. Dedicated leadership.
Yeah.
So when I say dedicated leadership, what does that mean? Because there's 2 things that this could mean when I say dedicated leadership.
Consistency.
Consistency is one way of saying it. I believe that's what most people are going to think of when I say dedicated leadership. That the same person is there every day. He shows up, he punches his card.
Well, I just mean like consistent leadership, like in terms of like not having double standards and stuff like
It's
that.
not
Not
gonna-
necessarily.
It's not going to have this
Just
wave.
being
One day
there.
you can speed, one day you can't. The
Right.
law doesn't change because
Right.
somebody is wavering in what they believe and don't believe.
Yeah.
Could be that. Yeah. What else? When I say consistent leadership or dedicated leadership, what else comes to mind? When I say that, I'm asking you and the community. See what I did there? I'm weaving the words in. It's beautiful.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, that was beautiful. It's what a leader would do. Right? So dedicated leadership.
Oh, what would...
'Cause
I'm thinking about this hard now.
So when we talk about leadership, I will also throw in that you need someone to steer the ship. So when I say someone needs to steer the ship, and you realize I put those stickers here for you, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Those are Risk Immerse stickers.
Thank you.
You can show those off anytime you want.
You could just say, just tell me.
Yeah. They're the ones that are on my mug. Yeah. They're
Right,
beautiful.
well,
They're beautiful.
I'm holding it up to the computer like the computer has the camera.
You're
I'm
hilarious.
stupid. I'm sorry,
No.
guys.
So the reality is, dedicated leadership, when I say dedicated, I don't mean that they necessarily show up every day or that they say the same thing every day, right? Not that they're consistent in what they say and do, but that they are dedicated to the community.
Right.
So when I say this, I think of George Washington. Ooh.
Okay. Everything's great. Everything is awesome.
Appreciate you, Brenny. Thanks for subbing, buddy. 4 months.
Woo.
Woo. Woo. We should do that. Get those little things. Just make a whole bunch of noise. Brenny, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Hope things are going well in England right now. Hope you guys can have another stream where you guys are out partying around town and going from club to club. I can't wait to see those again. And it's going to be a while before we get there, but appreciate you guys. Appreciate you streaming in. Hope you are doing well today, bud. But the idea of dedicated leadership, I'm talking about somebody who is dedicated to the community. So one of the things, like when you talk about a mayoral candidate
Right.
for Jackson, he can't be a full-time Lansing resident. He needs to have a full-time residence here in Jackson.
Right. Because you can't understand.
You don't know what I'm going through
Yeah.
because you're not from my community.
Yeah.
You're not. Very often, I use the term "sold out." Right? I want to be sold out, like for my students at Rise Above.
Right.
You know that idea. Pardon me. I will fall on a sword for you. I am
Right.
absolutely sold out for you.
Right.
Gets back to Craig's comment about being sacrificial. I'm willing, as the leader, to sacrifice everything for your success. Does that make sense to you? Mm-hmm. So as when you told me your boss was keeping going and that he was going to keep you guys going and that when your team at Alta said, hey, we're going to keep paying you guys, I thought that is sacrificial leadership.
Oh, yeah.
Because from a leader standpoint, it is easy to default to, we need to, yes, I need to make sure that we're secure. And very often leaders have to focus on budgets and those sorts of things.
Right.
And I'm in that same boat. Now, I'm not in a for-profit entity, so I've got to think of things a little bit differently. My
Right.
financial resources are very different than an Alta and
Right.
a for-profit business. But the reality is we paid our staff a couple of weeks beyond, hoping that this would pass quickly,
Right.
trying to keep things going. But the reality is that you have to be willing as a leader to be dedicated to the point of pain. Right? From the George Washington comment I was going to say is that idea of being pure in spirit, that he says it's not for my desires that I serve, but for your desires.
Right.
This idea that I am here to ensure that the laws that we pass make sure you are successful before I am successful. If they happen to make me successful along the way too, great. But I make this law not for me, but for you. So,
Right. Which, and with that, I think, like, because like, talking about your students and stuff, excuse me, like, they know that, like, if somebody's not wholeheartedly...
oh my gosh, yeah. If there is one thing we've learned is that these kids smell a fake a mile away.
Right. So, and it's like, and the second they figure that out, they're like, well, screw this.
Oh, they're not interested at all.
Instantly. So it's with any sort of relationship, the second that somebody realizes, like, this person isn't in it for my benefit or for to, like, make this better,
Yep.
they instantly just shut off.
Yeah, and I'm going to read. So this is a text that we got from a student. I don't know if I've read this on stream or not. I know we put it on our Facebook
I was
page.
going to say, was it the one you put on Facebook?
Yeah, let me see if I can get back to it here. Whew. How long ago did that text come in? Let me see if I can find it here. I think it's right here. So one of the things we're doing is we're sending out handwritten cards to our students, letting them know that we're thinking of them, that we're praying for them, and that we can't wait to see them come back. And this was a response that one of our students texted Nick, who comes on the stream very often. And I don't know if Nick's tuned in today or not, but let me have a quick look. No, he's not. He's probably out cutting grass or something. It's nice out today here in Michigan. He says, "Hey, Mr. Nick, I got the card y'all sent me today, and I just want to say that I'm having rise above withdrawal." And yes, I've been practicing my crossovers and raps. So him and Nick do the raps. I think you saw the one rap thing we did on stream here the one time. I want to say thank you guys so much for all the help you gave me this year, and I wish school didn't have to end like this because I miss everybody and everything that we did at school. P.S. Tell Miss R I'll be going over all the songs that she sent me. This kid's a huge music fan.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you think about community, that is the essence of what I think of when I say what community is. You know,
Right.
it's something that, you almost can't live without. And when it's gone, you feel a sense of loss,
Right.
right? You almost mourn it. So, a little bit more about community, then we'll go on to my next half of this, the second half of this stream. Pardon me. So, what are some of the things that that leadership can provide a community? When I say that the community has a defined leadership that is sold out for it, what are some of the things that leadership would provide for a given community? And there's
Stabilization.
stabilization, yeah. So when you think of stabilization, typically, so put it in the context of police, right? So if you have a police force in your community, whether you're state, local, or whatever, they provide what's up, Mr. Poggy Waffles? Morning, my good
I
sir.
thought it was soggy.
It is soggy. It is soggy. He's a complete nerd, too. He thinks he's good at marbles. It's only because he's got hacks. But what when you have a police force in town, what they do is they provide that stability, right? In the sense that, hey, Dad, what's up, buddy? They provide some form of a moral authority, right? In the
Right.
sense of an enforcement of laws and this idea that they have a final say if there's a dispute of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
They come in and they're the arbiter.
They're the mediator.
Yeah, the mediator, the arbiter, whatever you want to call
Yeah,
it,
that
right?
word.
And what it does is it provides a certain stability, as you say, to a community that says, we may disagree on some things, but we can always get through this no matter what.
Because, I mean, you can put a fence up, but it's only going to keep the honest people from getting into your yard.
Yeah, locks only keep honest people out is the phrase, right?
Yeah.
It was funny because I used to go moose hunting with Grandpa way up north,
Yeah.
way up north, and you go up there and you have these huge clubhouses, like 5,000-6,000 square foot clubhouses, and they're all fully stocked. All the dishes, all the furniture, everything's in this thing, and it's like November, and it's completely empty. Nobody's
Right.
going to be there for like 6 months until the
Right.
weather breaks, and everything's wide open. And I'm trudging through the bush looking for moose, and I come across this massive building,
Food.
and I'm like, the door's open. I don't know why I
Yeah.
checked the door, but I was 16, whatever the case is, and I checked the door's open. I was like, what the? So I'm walking through this place, and after I didn't touch anything, I basically just walked through because everything's off, right? So it's not like you can turn the heat on and just sit and chill for a minute. I closed the door behind me, and I thought, do I lock it? Do I, is there somebody here that, am I going to get shot? I got a bigger gun, so it didn't matter. But so I go back hunting. I go back to the camp that night. I tell my dad, hey, came across this building, and
Completely open.
completely open. Everything's still in it. And it's like, yeah, you'll never find anything locked up here. And I was like, well, that's stupid. And
Okay. Everything's great. Everything is awesome.
thank you, Mr. Stoggy Waffles. Morg, welcome back. You can skip leg day. You have little noodle legs anyways. And he says, what's the point of locking the doors? No one's going to be checking it. all the owner's gonna do is come back to busted in doors, busted windows, and everything else. They might as well just leave the door open. If they want to steal the
Right.
crap, let them steal the crap,
Right.
right? Because really, if the door was locked, I would have went to the door and I would have checked the handle would have been locked, and I would have kept walking because I'm the honest guy.
Right.
But the bad guy comes along, he's gonna kick that door in, and he's gonna take what he wants to take, and that idea of
Right.
again that concept of
I'd
a lot.
imagine it's enough in the middle of nowhere that very few people would come across it anyways.
And trust me, it's literally 24 hours from here to get there.
Jeez.
It's Northern Ontario.
Yeah.
A little town called Chapleau. Anyways, actually, I think it's 16 hours from here
Either
to drive
way, it's
there.
far.
It's a couple of hours. So I was going to ask you, how do you build community? But we can come back to that if need be. We can work it in. So here we're going to play a little Q&A. What do you even work out? No, I've
I
worked out
don't.
in like 6 weeks. It's been horrible. I it's been one of those things. Try to work out. I tried for a couple of days, and now all I do is curls. That's all I do.
I was gonna say we have dumbbells and stuff if you
Yeah,
want. but-
I've got them in my office downstairs actually. So, what's that, Craig?
I'm pretty sure you have more than we do for workout equipment.
Probably got a little
Think
bit.
you're set.
I got a little bit. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions.
Jeez Louise, I'm looking. Dude, you guys don't even see the papers he has.
Hey, relax. Everything's under control.
Oh, don't blow your burps in me.
Yeah, we're all family. The door is closed, so no farting in here, please. First question. And I got to throw this out the chat too, and I'm
I'm so scared.
yeah, Brenny, you don't even know, guy. You are very correct.
Oh my gosh.
So, first question, and again, I'd love to hear because it's gonna be some smart comments here, and I love it. What's the first thing you would do if you were elected the Prime Minister of Canada? Rip the trees. I recycle.
Oh jeez, I don't know.
Best be 18 lines long. If you were Prime Minister of Canada, what's the first thing you would do?
Pug Sundays for everybody.
Pug Sundays for everyone.
And if you get that reference, you are now my best friend.
Who knows what
I
Pug
don't-
Sundays are?
I don't think anybody will. I don't know. I don't know what I would do.
Risk isn't allowed back in
Honestly.
Canada. There may be some truth there. I'm not allowed back in Canada at the moment. They won't let me back in the
Right.
country because of this COVID thing.
They had about a 2-day window where they were just like, all right, everybody who's coming back, come back.
I'm back now. Or stop. Yeah, do it now. Pug party. Brenny, you know what Pug party is?
No. It's from a TV show.
Yeah, I know.
If-
You don't know what you would do?
I honestly don't know. I don't know. I'm not the type of person to be like, well, being political has nothing to do with it. It's just
Pop party!
What
Pop
the
party!
You're welcome. Everybody's welcome.
oh my gosh, my face. I just saw the leg.
Just for context. That's awesome. Thanks, Brenny. Appreciate you, buddy.
I'm not interesting enough. I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. If you could be a superhero, what kind of superhero would you be?
You mean like what sort of power would
Besides
I have?
Smurfette.
You mean like what sort of power
Sure.
would I
Why
have?
not? Call it what you want. Soggy, what superhero would you be? Teleport man, Brenny says. Why, Brenny?
I'd want to fly.
Be Risk with noodle arms? Buddy, you wish you could be Risk.
Dude, we have pictures of him with noodle arms. It's beautiful.
You wish you could be noodle arms. You could never be noodle arms. There is only one. One, I tells you. Travel is overrated. Well, fair enough. Even though
Yeah.
you're stuck at home.
Hey, but at least if you could fly, nobody, like, radars wouldn't pick you up because you're too small. So nobody would be able to be like, hey,
Show up as a hummingbird on the radars.
Right.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I think the whole flying thing appeals to me. But the teleport is instant. Yeah, Brennan says, yeah, flying takes time.
Yeah, but if you teleport, then you can't see things along the way. You have to actually...
Okay, understanding this is a PG stream, Soggy, why would you want to be invisible?
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. I knew it. I see it. I see this. I see the face. You'd love to run really fast, recruit? Just do what Ben Johnson did. Cheat.
Ooh.
Rip.
T.
So you can make fun of my noodle arms? How is being invisible make fun of? All right, you're being mean to me now. That's funny. I don't know. I struggle with. I've always, ever since I was a little kid, I always thought it would be cool to have X-ray vision. You know, because I always envisioned, looking through the bank vault and seeing. But then I was like, well, how do you get in the bank vault? You have to.
There's no point.
There's no point to it. So I was like, okay.
All it's there to tempt you.
And then I became a teenager, and then I realized I can't because it's a PG stream. And then I was like, okay, so then I'd rather fly.
I hate everything about that comment.
Craig got my joke. So then I was like, okay, I could fly, because then if you can fly, you can do just about everything. You can go save people. You don't have to have superhuman strength.
Right.
Right? You don't have to have X-ray vision to do what you could fly in and save people.
Go wherever you
Flying
want.
is overrated. Yeah, he deserves it. Be able to take a pic of your back hair. Well, yeah. I only have hair. It's only right above my bum at the back anyway, Soggy.
He is
so
a very hairless man. It is very strange.
It's awesome. We have a little Portuguese patch in our family. It's phenomenal.
Except for Asher.
Poor Asher. That kid was hairy from day one.
Literally.
Cleaning your keyboard, but you're there? Yeah. Hope you got some good wipes for that keyboard there, Dingle. Yeesh. I don't want to know. But if you run really fast and you're... Yeah, sure, fair enough. Something like that anyways. Yes, you did type that wrong. I knew what you meant, though, recruit. Let's see. If you got to choose your own nickname, what nickname do you give yourself? Why am I so burpy? I'm burpy.
I don't know.
It's because you came in my room.
I don't...
What nickname?
You are asking all the wrong questions, sir.
No, I'm asking the wrong person. The wrong person is being asked. What's your nickname, Craig? What's your nickname? You got to pick your own nickname. What's your nickname going to be?
It was Cupcake for a long time.
Cupcake? Who gave you Cupcake? Because I'm a that's my term. I use that. It's up Cupcake.
I worked at Target for a long time.
Oh, yeah?
And when I first started, an older lady couldn't remember my name,
So she always
yelled
called-
Cupcake. And it just stuck. So for 7 years, every person at Target called him Cupcake.
And that is why we had cupcakes at our wedding, by the way, in case... It's because we had like a cake, and instead of having just a really big cake for everybody, we did cupcakes, and that was part of the reason why, was because Craig's just like, oh, but it's my nickname, even though nobody's called him it for like 10 years.
It's done well now.
Yeah, I use Cupcake when I want to let the other, generally man, know that they are inferior. Cupcake, get out of the way, please. You are clearly in my way. Brenny comes from your grandma, and Cal from your fave soccer team. Oh, the old green. Is that why your name is green on my stream? It's green.
I mean, my
Bish,
my alias that I use like on
Nice.
whenever I don't want to, because I'm unimaginative. Is Mikey with like Mykie,
Yeah.
and that's, if you remember Lauren, that's what. Why you gotta be like that? That's what she called me
Yeah.
when we were little, and I just never. So now I just use it as like an alias or something.
Yeah. My nickname in high school was Taco, as everybody knows. Corn dog.
I was gonna say, weren't you called like Flying Taco and?
Yeah, that was later in high school. So
Military?
originally it was Taco because everybody thought I was Mexican.
Right.
So
No.
and this is in the 80s, so there's some culturally inappropriate,
Right.
whatever.
Stuff there.
It's old. And then when I joined the military, because I was I trained with the airborne, they called me Flying Taco.
Yeah.
So Flying Taco kind of stuck with me all the way through.
Does it still have that negative connotation to it for you now, or does it?
No, I mean initially I really fought the whole Taco nickname because it was
Right.
it was a bully at the school.
Right.
And then when I joined the military, he stopped being my bully because he realized I was going to kick his butt because I was into weightlifting and stuff at that time as
Right.
well. So it then turned into something more, and then I just got the nickname Flying Taco. Hey, what's up, Hells? Welcome, Mr. Nemesis. Risk and Smurfette. Smurfette is my daughter, Marika, just so you know, in case you're wondering what her real name is. Yes, families are well and safe. Thank you. See, nicknames are good and bad. Initially, my nickname was bad, and then it turned into something good. It actually carried with me all the way through the military and long into Milo. What stuck with me for
Young
a long
adult
time.
life.
Yeah, fair. If you were given a chance to travel back in time, what time would you travel to? This is a fun one.
The you're all gonna judge me so hard.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Did you see what Sagi just said?
No. Yeah, I know. It really is condolences. I thank you. I appreciate it. Honestly, if I'm being completely honest with myself, it would either be when the plague was a thing or like during like the height of Rome and Greece and stuff. Honestly. So either all the death or
Like the Black Death, like
Yeah, like
back
the
in
plague, like-
the Middle Ages.
right with the boils and the sores
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
everybody dying. Yeah.
Why?
I have morbid fascination. Words.
What?
I don't know.
What?
I have a morbid fascination. That's the word I was looking for.
Gotcha.
With death. I don't know. It would just be interesting.
Yeah, I think the whole Roman times and whatnot as well. But I think given my I love history, so this question is
Right.
really cool to me. And
Yeah.
Brenny, I'm curious what you're talking about with the 1930s. Whether that's an answer for yourself. Whether you'd want to just be like the Industrial Revolution type.
But that was also
frame?
during like the Dust Bowl and stuff. I don't know. Why would
It depends
you
where
wanna
you
go
are
to
in
the
America,
30s?
right? That's middle America.
Well, what do you mean what's wrong with the 30s? That's when the stock market crashed. And that's what led up to Hitler, because Hitler started coming into power. So
Yeah,
if you're
after the
in-
First World War, yeah.
So if you're in Germany during the 30s, you might want to
Mm-hmm.
vote against Hitler when he tries to come into power. But
You're from the UK, so it's all good. You have a question for me, Recruit? What's up? Yeah, because you know where to invest. Let's go railways
right,
and automobiles.
yes, be a very wealthy person.
What's your question? What would you give each other as a nickname? Well, nerd for Soggy for one.
This is a PG stream. I
Big
can't
nerd.
say it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where noodle arms Neil. Oh boy. It goes without saying, Soggy's from California, so I don't know what that means, but
I also like the idea of Greece too, from the standpoint that it was very like artsy. It's like a
well,
lot
that
of,
part of the world in general.
right. And it's like it'd be cool to see like from, and also very advanced too, because like they had even like running water and stuff to an extent.
They did.
They had aquaphors and things like that.
Marukan.
What?
What is Marukan?
I was gonna say, what is that from?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Explain yourself, Soggy. Unless somebody else knows what the hell he's talking about, because I don't. Marukan. Those are noodles, like Roman noodles or something. Not Roman noodles, I mean Japanese noodles. Got me thinking Roman now.
I will be nice.
It's like top ramen. Oh, it's like brand name ramen.
Ooh.
It's good Japanese stuff. You'll be nice now? That's a lie and you know it. Fake news. I see you work for CNN. That's great. Thanks for coming up.
I'm staying out of that.
So, Soggy, this question's for you. If you could be invisible for a day, for one day, where would you go? What would you do? What would you do? Invisible for one day.
I honestly, it would probably be along the lines of flying again, and I would just sneak onto planes and stuff, so I could go places.
Mm-hmm. Brenny, is it appropriate for my stream? Please share.
That's evil. That my husband agrees with you, Brenny.
Start freaking them out. Just make shit levitate. There you go.
Even they're confused.
Yeah,
Like what?
that's too funny.
That would honestly be great. I would, and then post it on YouTube and make millions.
Mm-hmm. Don't know, honestly. It's your thing, but you don't know. Well, thanks for showing up, then, man.
This is a two-way conversation here. You can't just not participate.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite thing about Christmas?
Family, I guess.
Part-time or Poggy? It's horrible. Guy just shows up. That's it, though.
Family and giving.
Family and giving.
Mm-hmm.
That was a very stereotypical answer.
I know.
Maybe go rob a bank. You
At
got to
least
get into the
Poggy's
bank
being
first.
honest with
Yeah,
us.
fair enough. I always like those shows, Soggy, where they walk in, they load up duffel bags full of gold bars, and then they walk out. I can tell you, I've worked for an armored car company, and you can't walk out with
BS.
you cannot walk out with a single bar, let alone a bag full of bars.
Oh yeah, no, that's it's freaking heavy.
At the Chicago vault that I used to go to all the time, they have a room. As you enter in, it's a safe within a safe within a safe, and in the second room there's a gold bar on the table, and they tell you you're welcome to take that bar. Go ahead, pick it up, and
Right.
it's in this box, and it's in such a way that you have to grab it with one hand, and
Oh, does it just have like a hole?
it has
in
a
the
well,
box?
it's a hole big enough that you can. I mean, you can get two hands in there. There's another one that's the Japanese guy did it. It's got a little hole.
Okay, that I've seen a video of
Yeah.
that.
But this one's actually bigger. And they
Okay.
say if you can pick it up with one hand and take it, the reality is you're not picking that thing up with one hand and taking it out.
and they know it.
And so the idea of the concept of filling a bag full of gold bars and walking out with it is ludicrous. Let alone a bag full of money
Right.
is ludicrous. It's just you don't do it. At least not with a lot of money. So
I was gonna say the Royal Canadian Mint because I had like a school class trip there one time, and they just had like a gold bar on a pedestal, but it wasn't like like 7 of us kids would be picking it up, and it wasn't attached to anything. Like there was nothing. So I mean, if somebody wanted to walk out with it, they'd probably just be like, "Well, kudos to you, I guess."
good luck. Try running with that for more than 3 meters. Brenny says, favorite part of Christmas is how everyone's in good spirits unless you're doing the shopping. Yeah. Just do it all online. Be done with it. Like everyone gets along with everyone. Yeah. Soggy agrees. Yeah, and I think that's partly for me is just kind of like the chill part of everything. Everyone's kind of just relaxed. Everyone
Right.
just wants to eat and socialize and sit around and be merry, so to speak. To use the term.
Comatose.
Yeah, that turkey coma, right?
Yeah, especially because in America, because you guys have Thanksgiving so freaking close to Christmas. So it's like you literally
Yeah.
for like 2 months are just in a turkey coma.
Yeah. But Soggy, so you're invisible. You go and you take the truck, but you realize the truck is not invisible.
You can't transfer your powers, my dude.
Having again being a VP for one of these companies, I can tell you just don't drive away with one of these trucks. There's interlocks. There's all kinds of things to track these trucks. You're just a dead, invisible man inside of a truck at that point. Holidays are about family and friends. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I'm not-
goodness, I keep burping too.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yes, that's fine, but then they don't know who's driving. Yeah, then they all just get out of the way because it's driving itself, and they're just freaked out.
Does anybody watch Futurama? It's like the Futurama episode when they go and rob the Wong. When Zoidberg is invisible, and they go and rob the Wong. Wow, casino. That's what it's called. In the casino, and they make
literally
Zoidberg.
Wong Casino.
Yeah, 'cause they're Asian,
Yeah.
and because stereotypical
Love that show.
names. And Zoidberg literally eats all the money, and that's how they get the money out of the casino.
Just eating it?
Because he's invisible, so he eats the money, and the money becomes invisible,
Got you.
and then they make him throw it up later. It's
Right now.
really stupid.
Yeah, Brenny, there's no songs in the queue, man. Come on, get your crap together. That's hilarious. Why did it even begin to say that? If they can't find his body because it's invisible, that's why I'm... That's all good. They just... But, I mean, would your blood be invisible after they lit that truck up or what? Who knows? Who's the funniest person you know?
Me.
It can't be you. That's not a good answer.
But I'm the funniest person I know.
You suck.
You're funny when you don't know it.
They try so hard. I don't know. Our family.
Hate to say it, but your dad, yeah.
Yeah.
Dad jokes.
Just our family in general. I think we like ricochet off each other so well. It's
Yeah.
so bad.
We used to say when you still lived at home, we talk about putting cameras at the kitchen table,
Oh my
and we'd
gosh.
stream dinner time.
It was never normal. Never.
Never normal.
No.
So Brenny, talk about dad jokes. Thanks. Oh, gee whiz, soggy. I give up. There's a thing in my house. My oldest son, Theron, he hasn't been on stream yet. Asher's been on stream. Marika's been on stream, but Theron has not. And
It's too cool.
he's too cool for school. He only streams CS:GO because that's what the cool kids do. There's a thing in my house where every time we have something different or new to eat at the table, I have to slap him in the face with it. So if I'm serving,
that's fairly recent, yeah.
so that's within the past, well, it's 10 years. We've been doing it since Canada.
Have we?
Yeah, it started off with mashed potatoes.
Oh.
And I was serving
okay,
the
you're
mashed
right.
potatoes, and I was like, whoosh.
In the yellow house. I
Yeah, it's
remember
been
that.
everything from peanut butter to ham to
Yeah.
you name it. He's had it in his face.
Yeah.
And just I'll be serving, and all of a sudden, whoosh, right in the
I'm telling
face.
you, he's going to be on his deathbed, and he's just going to be like, I still hate Dad for doing that. Like,
Best.
he loathes that.
You know, at the wedding, he's getting it.
Oh, my gosh.
If that kid ever gets married.
I mean, he's going to get it anyways, because theoretically the wife is going to shove cake in his face.
And then I'm going to shove his face in the cake. Nice recruit. A slice of pies, 2 tea in Jamaica, and 3 Lars. These are the
How did we get on this topic?
South Caribbean. Interesting. Pirates of
Oh
the
my
Caribbean. I
goodness.
get it. What's the coldest letter in the alphabet? B, because it's between A, C.
This is horrible. I'm
You
sorry.
people are, the stream is just degrading into absolute chaos.
You're the one with, like, the massive sheet of questions.
What talents or gifts do you believe that you have been given by God?
Oblivionous?
Being oblivious to
Being
everything?
oblivious, thank you. Not the power of speech, apparently.
What gift has God given you, Craig?
Loving me.
Flexibility.
Say that again.
Flexibility.
Flexibility, okay,
Not in
PG
the-
stream.
Not in the
Physical
physical
sense.
sense, but to adapt to my surroundings.
Got you. How do you think that you've done that over the years?
Just being able to, like, at work, I get along with everybody because I understand everybody individually, but they're all completely different.
Can they even hear him?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Just being able to understand people from different standpoints.
Got you. So being flexible in the sense of being able to work with
Adaptable.
yeah. With different people and whatnot. Got you. We can hear. Yes, we can.
Cute.
Good stuff. Being average at everything. Pretty. I don't know. You're not average. I mean, I've seen you play. No, you're pretty average. Let's just stick with average.
What?
What were you pointing at?
I wasn't pointing at anything.
You were pointing at me.
No,
I will
wasn't.
throw things
I was
at
going
you.
I was gonna go like that, but then
Oh.
I decided to leave.
No, you
it.
can leave it there. Craig can look at himself. He looks all anxious now that he's on camera. He's like, What do I do? I can't pick my nose anymore. Crap. What do I do? Hello, Emily. Nice to see you here. Appreciate you. We're doing Q&A time with my blue-haired daughter and her husband because we're stuck. I don't know what I would say. I'm a jack of all trades. I can do a bit of everything to a dangerous extent. Yeah, Q&A and making fun of me as usual. Thanks for showing up, Soggy. I cry at night because of you. Yeah, I'm like a jack of all trades. I can do a bit of everything. You know, from building things to fixing things to being able to talk for hours on end. You know,
He's
but
really good at that one.
but I think one of the only nerds cry themselves to sleep.
So
but
that
I-
means Soggy does too, then.
Yeah, exactly. He just cries nonstop.
Yeah,
that guy.
nerd.
Yeah, nerd. But I think the one gift I think I've been given is this idea of understanding, is that I can empathize with people, I can journey with people when they're
Right.
going through things. I've gone through so much crap in my life that it's given me the ability to journey with most people that I bump into. I've had good times and I've had bad times. I've had success financially and I've had failures financially. And it's allowed me to journey with folks in ways I don't think I could have done otherwise. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what else. Do you have a hero? Who's your hero and why?
I hate to say it, but
We're still on page 1, Brenny? Yeah, page 1 guy. About halfway. You want me to go to page 2?
Honestly, I thought there'd be a lot more like personal questions.
These are personal. You're just choosing not to make them personal. Anything else you want to know?
Honestly, I hate to say it, but
Was that hard to say?
I threw up a little bit.
A little
in my mouth.
verklempt. Your granddad? Mm-hmm. Why, Brenny? If I can ask, if I can be so personal as to ask. Life is all about following. Your determination depends on your will to keep on going. Yep. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with failing, right? It's your willingness to turn that failure into something that you can learn from and develop. And honestly, Soggy, that is the exact thing that we try and teach here in our programs constantly. There's nothing wrong with failing. There's nothing wrong with having a bad day. It's letting your bad day or your failure then determine your outcome, whether it be for the remainder of the day, or for the week, for the year, for whatever, your life. And that's very often what happens with these kids, is that their momentary failure, that momentary lapse in judgment and success destroys everything. They just automatically think that they can't succeed at all.
Yeah.
Your dad taught you well. That's good. People that you love and do stuff with, yeah. Been through a lot of tough things. World War II. Wow, that's awesome. That's just before the person was never negative and always wanted. You know, and that's funny, Brent, that you say that, because my avô, my Portuguese grandfather, avô was Portuguese for.
He was great.
Grandpa.
He used to hit us with his cane.
Yes, he was
It
awesome.
was wonderful.
But it was a fun playful.
It was.
It was,
It
like,
was.
it was,
It was like, I can't get out of the
just
chair to play with you, so I'm going to whack you with my
gonna
cane.
Hit you with the cane. Yeah. But it was that same optimism, right? That, you know, that here's a guy that left his country, Portugal, to come to Canada to start over again because of the jobs in Portugal at the time were horrible. So came here 5 years before my dad and my grandma to kind of get things started, and then when he had money, brought them over. So it was just, it was really, really interesting. Your hero is your grandfather as well? For the similar reasons, Soggy, or is there something specific that your grandfather did? I want to know who Morg's hero is. Because Morg's journeyed. She's a traveler.
Like, actually traveled or just had,
no,
like,
she
an
just had
interesting life?
Interesting things going on. Of all your memories, family memories, what's the one memory that sticks out in your mind the most? He's always been selfless, cared about other people before himself. Yeah, that's cool. That was my grandma. My Portuguese grandma. She was
I was going to say which one.
beyond selfless, that woman. She was incredible to me.
Yeah.
Stories upon stories I could tell about her. But what's your greatest memory? Your mom, definitely. How so, Morg? Think while Morg answers. Or answer while Morg answers. What's your greatest... When I say memory, what's the first thing that pops in your mind?
When we were still living in the townhouse, and do you remember that book? You probably don't, but you remember that book? It was about, it was like Maurice and his fabulous talking rats or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. And we
Reading
would
that
read
book
that
together?
every night.
Yep, I remember the book. Summer camp. Family holidays. I remember it was my grandfather teaching me to fly fish. Ooh. In the
would-
street? That's
I
cool.
would hook my ear or something. I couldn't do that.
What kind of summer camp was it, MLA? Was it like a regular summer camp? Was it a gymnastics camp or something like that? Because there's, at least in our area, there's tons of different types of summer camp. I used to go to a gymnastics camp when I was a kid. My mom is one of the strongest people I know. Gave up her life in schooling to raise my brother and I. Always encouraged me. That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. Another memory that really pops in my mind, it's not necessarily good or bad or my favorite, is that one time I was riding my bike and we were like, once again in the townhouse, and my friends and I, we had a race, and I fell and I landed on the curb and I got a huge scrape on my hip. And I remember running to you because you were out in the garage and crying, being like, I fell, and I had like a huge like scrape on my side. And he literally, this is the man he is. He literally just goes and grabs a hose, hoses me down, and then says, "You're fine. Have fun." It's like, okay.
The scrape was this big.
No, it wasn't. I remember it being like a good chunk of my hip. Anyways.
The scrape was this big. Tough love. Tough love. What's mine, Riss? I don't know. I've been through. Whew.
Me.
Yeah, well.
He paused.
No, well, I was, but just what to say as you said that, I mean, I have several memories. So there's like the really good ones, and then there's like things that have happened in my life that I just really remember deeply.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not necessarily like when you think of good ones, obviously seeing your first child born. I mean, those of you that have kids, if you ever go through that experience, it's quite something to see a child being born. And I'm not squeamish at all, so I'm right in there, you know, looking at everything, and I want to touch it. Is that a baby's head? But it's just one of those things where, I mean, I have a ton of memories. When I think of if I'm saying to you what's your greatest memory, I always remember the one time in church, the guy that was there singing. There was a musician there singing, and we had whoever danced the most won a free CD. That always sticks out in my mind is Marika and I dancing like crazy in church to get this free CD.
I was literally sitting in his lap, and I was like, I don't know, I want to say like 10 or something maybe.
Yeah.
At the time, and he's just like holding my arms, just like flailing them around, and we were just being complete morons.
Risk's memory was in black and white. Thanks, Brenny. Thanks. Well, you see, it's not. I mean, when Jesus and I were walking down the street, no, I'm just kidding. I'm going to hell. It's over. It's over. Did they have memories that long ago? Gee whiz, this is like totally. That's so funny. It was a good ride, yeah. I think one of the.
Save me a seat next to you.
I'll be there with you as well. Yeah, we can. As we're going down, we're like, woo! Hands in the air as the roller coaster's going right to the bottom. Sadly, there's no end, and then you don't come back up again. Is the stream still clear for you guys on the screen there?
Yeah.
Okay, because for some reason it's gotten fuzzy on mine, and I'm not sure whether it's just my stream or what's going on. But
No, we're good.
I see the bit rate died a little bit for a couple seconds. So, one of the biggest memories for me is when I broke my hip. Like overall memories, things that pardon me really stands out in my mind as one of those things that just encapsulates my life. Was the accident I had where I broke my hip and spent several months in the hospital and all that kind of jazz.
It was like a full year, wasn't it?
It was a year of recovery. Yeah, it was only like 7 weeks in the hospital. But the reality is, the being 14, breaking my hip, learning to walk again. And then at 15 and a half, joining the military, and them asking the question, is there any physical ailment that is going to stop you from performing your duties to the fullest extent, blah, blah, blah.
No.
And I'm like, no, I am perfectly fine. I will do all the things.
Don't check my medical records.
I don't think they did. They'd have to go. It wasn't digital like it is now, right?
Right.
Yeah, as Soggy so eloquently pointed out earlier, and with Brenny's help, the old microfiche wasn't available to them at the time. So it's a bit fuzzy on my. Yeah, I'm sure there is something Soggy. That's why I want to be able to run really fast so I can run back up. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, it's better. They didn't have paper that long ago. Yeah, well, it was vellum. It was, pig skin or not sheep skin they used. They had to scrape it down first. It was, all kinds of things. So I'm going to refresh too, see if it helps mine. Ivory? Yeah, they used ivory. Come on now. Let's see. Brenny, we're page 2, buddy.
I'm so sorry, guys.
What's one thing that you currently can do that you'd like to be better at?
Breathing.
Fair enough. Craig, what's one thing that you can currently do that you'd like to be better at?
I have asthma, in case anybody wasn't sure what that was a reference to.
Rock slabs and pointy rock pencils. Dingle, go back. Go back to cleaning your keyboard. You're not allowed to type anymore. Go. Let's go. 48 to go.
I don't know.
You don't know?
What, are you just perfect?
No. Not by far, but.
Oh, humble he is.
He is. Very humble. I don't know. I always wanted to be an expert at something.
Right.
I
mean, I always think that I can always be better at stuff, but I don't know if there's necessarily anything that I'm like, I need to be better at this right now.
Yeah.
That sticks out in my mind.
Craig, you'll appreciate this. I've always wanted to be like an uber good mechanic. I've always wanted to be someone that can just be an expert make a 1,000,000 horsepower come out of a Honda Civic. You know what I mean? Like, turn my gas lawnmower into like a jet engine or something like that.
Right,
You know what
one
I mean?
of those people.
Yeah, it's just the craziness that. Yeah, the gym's definitely not my expertise. Shut up, stinking jerks! I missed 2 weeks. Suddenly, it's all over. Better attention span. It's funny you say that because that's an actual thing for a lot of people.
Yeah. Gosh, I have the attention span of a freaking goldfish. And a memory, for that matter.
Yeah.
Forget everything.
Goldfish have memories?
They do. They've
3
shown that they
seconds?
have 3-second memory. Yeah.
Oh, that's you.
It's very.
Very
Yay.
accurate.
It's good that you remember that, anyways. I think the one thing for me that I really find hardest, I think, is to be able to think on the fly when it comes to, like your mom's really good at this. Where to be able to just to discern. I'm trying to think how to say it. What were you gonna say?
I said she's so witty.
She's
Like, she's very snap responses.
she can be when it comes to like really thoughtful type points. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
when she I don't know how to say that well. She's a deep thinker. And I don't have that ability. I'm very 10,000 foot view thinking.
Right, like
You know?
broad spectrum.
So I'm average, as Brandy says. I'm average at everything. There's no one thing that I'm just like knock it out of the park. I'm really good at, and I think it's just because I have such a broad range of interests that I've never given anything enough time to dig that deep into.
Well, I think that can also go back to the... What?
Soggy. I wish I had better control to make fun of Neil.
But just like... I think part of it is that you just have such a broad array of interests that I think it's hard for you to actually, because he has the same problem sometimes. Like for instance, like we're remodeling our house right now, and he'll start a project, and then he'll think of something else, so he'll go start that other project. And I think that's part of why. I don't want to say that's not. I don't want to say that's why you're not an expert at something.
Morg meme, stay out of this.
But, like, I think that's part of it is, like, you just have such varying interests and you want to do all of them.
Yeah.
That you don't necessarily spend
It's
the
not a
time.
laziness. It's a. Ooh, look, a squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 100%. 100% what it is. And Branny, don't follow. Morg meme is a bad example.
Is that a deer? What is that?
It's a reindeer. It's a Christmas emote.
That's a very scary
You're all
visual.
nerds picking on me. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Haha, reindeer. I'm glad MLA's yours didn't work. Get wrecked, nerd. That's funny. You're pretty average at everything too? Yeah, I could tell by your stream. Whoa, get wrecked. So, improve being a blacksmith. Are you, dude? Gee whiz, guy, you're like 16 years old. You're doing blacksmith stuff?
I'd like to do that.
What's
That
up,
would be
Inspector
cool.
Gadget? The intent was there. Risk when he's going to bed. You nerd. Yeah, that is me. I am that cute, to be honest with you. All tucked in with my little nightcap on. The intent was there. It is one of those streams. I'll tell you right now. Really, that is super cool. Guy, that is a talent, Recruit.
Yeah.
Keep that up, man. What type of engineering do you want to go into? Yeah, your stream, actually, dude, your stream is real crisp now with the new PC and stuff. So nice, guy. That's no, all joking aside, looks really good. We're talking about everything. Yeah, we started with community. Then that was too serious. Then we just
And our
went
community just...
completely went off rails. What were your favorite subjects in high school, and what were your least favorite? Thick, Morg, stop talking about me. And what were your least favorite subjects in school?
I don't know. I really had a lot, even though I never did well in any of them, just because I didn't like school. But like, I really liked my AP psychology class just because I love psychology. Art class, even though I hated being told what to draw, loved doing it. I don't know why. Gym.
Favorite? Gym?
I don't know. I really liked English, though I hated being told to read things. Like,
Brenny.
I don't know.
Least favorite? English and English. Like Army cars and planes. Nice, man. Super cool. I wish I was good at engineering. I wish I took the time to actually learn stuff in school.
Same. I love to learn. I just hate school.
Band and history. See, Emily, I love history too. I love the histories. I love sciences. Math is one of the things that I hate because it's
Rigid?
it just feels like work to me,
Right.
But I wish I knew it because it's so important for everything, to really do anything, you've got to know math.
I mean, you can get through life knowing basic algebra for the most part.
Yeah, and there's my problem number one for me. I don't remember ever really doing algebra in school. Lunch, favorite. Everything else was meh. That's funny. Yeah, I really liked art. I wasn't the greatest at art, but I loved my art teacher. So this is part of the question is what made those classes your favorite? So for me, favorite classes weren't necessarily the subjects, although the content was important. Like I loved history and stuff. To me, it could be the worst class in the world. It could be a math class for me, say.
Right.
But if I had a great teacher, oh my gosh, you couldn't get me to that class fast enough.
Yeah. I guess from that standpoint,
Ancient
it would
history's
be
lit, yeah.
my either psychology, AP Psych, or gym then, because there
Absolutely.
was because like the teacher in AP Psychology, like the class was very tailored to the way that I learned, which was like there was a lot of hands-on artsy projects for everything. So, and I'm a very hands-on artsy person, so. From that, and then plus, like, I don't know how or why, but, like, I think the teacher somehow knew that high school was just not a thing for me. So she was just very understanding all the time about everything. Like, if I didn't hand in a project, she was just like, oh, you're fine. Like, just make sure you get it done.
That's a solid
and it'd be like,
D.
And it'd be like 3 months later, and I'd finally hand it in. She's like, thank you. And she'd still grade it. I don't know why, but God bless that teacher.
Yeah,
But
we paid her a lot of money.
okay, here, let me ask you a question since we're on the topic of school. What was your favorite teacher quote from me? Because I know you quote it all the time.
So
I'll let you tell this.
So I don't know about the rest of the world, but in America, North America, we have what are called parent-teacher meetings.
It's his favorite thing ever, both him and mom.
And so twice a year, you go to the school and you meet with your students, your child's teachers, and they tell you what the student is doing, how they're doing in classes, and challenges they're facing, successes they're having, and all that kind of stuff. And they usually provide pretty good feedback. Ooh, you're a baby now. What's up, Diablo?
Everything's great. Everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome. And Diablo, I just want you to know, Diablo, you've always been a baby to me. Yes, I meant it that way. And so you go to these parent-teacher meetings, and most times they'll say things like, oh, the student's doing very well. They struggle with math, but they're getting the concepts and blah, blah, blah. And this one teacher, I forget her name.
Yeah.
But anyways, super nice lady.
English teacher.
It was. And she was very honest with us and said,
I really liked her as a teacher.
Yeah,
by the
she
way. She was a really cool
and Theron did too. And she said, you know what Marika's problem is? Marika's not stupid. Marika's lazy. And so that has always stuck with us of how observant this teacher was. And the fact that she was absolutely correct in understanding our child.
I remember sitting in between my parents, and they both looked at me like, "Huh?
I couldn't.
Really?"
We couldn't believe that she said it. She was just very matter of fact. Marika's not stupid. She's lazy. More like relatable. And it was just like, wow, that is so refreshing to have a teacher that's just blatantly honest. It was great. That's a favorite teacher quote of all time. That's too funny. I had a question. I forget what I was going to ask you now. Favorite family tradition?
That we still do, or that we used to do?
Any of the above.
When we used to go to Algonquin Park for Thanksgiving.
Algonquin for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I think we only did that for maybe 2-3
2 or 3
years, but
years,
it was
yeah.
like my favorite thing. I loved it.
Yeah, I think the one thing that stands out in Mom's mind all the time is how so Algonquin Park is this massive
Nature reserve.
nature reserve in Ontario, Canada, and
Beautiful.
it's a
Stunning.
crazy place, and it's actually where Veronica and my wife and I got married. Was literally just on the edge of that park. We got married out in the middle of the forest, not in a church. We went on this, what we thought was a couple of mile long trail, ended up being 15 miles, the trail.
Was that one with like the cliff pictures?
Yeah, where we
Yeah.
ran out of water and all that kind of jazz.
I remember us getting water out of the stream and Mom screaming at us.
Yeah, well, thankfully I hiked there all the time, so I knew the water was fine.
Right. But I remember that.
But Marika, absolute trooper, in front of the class the whole time, just marching away like a chief. Like, it was just incredible. And I had to carry our youngest. We had a newborn baby in Theron who could do nothing but whine the whole time. But yeah, it was just we were thinking on taking a little recreational walk with the kids through this park, and yeah. My favorite family tradition. I think the PJ thing at Christmas time is kind of my favorite. And not the PJs, the fact that Theron takes his drawers off right in front of the tree
Instantly.
every year. As soon as he opens
Instantly,
this thing,
he's just like, whoop.
my oldest son just drops his drawers right there and puts the new PJ bottoms on right there, instantly.
Instantly.
Doesn't matter who's over for Christmas.
Great.
So I think, Craig, you were introduced that year one.
Yeah.
Thank you. Did you have a favorite tradition that you and your family do, Craig, or anything like that? Or tradition's your thing?
Trips up north every year.
Oh, that's right. You guys got the cottage. That's right. Yeah. What's your favorite part of the cottage?
That nothing else matters when you're up there.
You're at the cottage.
You make it
Lit,
The fact
yeah.
that you are at the
Everything
cottage.
does
Yeah.
not matter.
Period.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did I miss anything here? You liked all the classes. You had homework, Soggy?
Sometimes it's the simple things.
Absolutely. It's the simple things.
Like Brenny, just like his family would go to the movie and then just eat pizza. Like,
Yep. Sing songs. Listen to Christmas songs in your PJs. Mm-hmm. Make cookies at Christmas.
listening to the same Christmas CD every
No problem, Diablo.
year for 4 days straight.
Yeah. Put the same Harry Connick Jr. Christmas CD on because it kicks butt. If you don't like Harry Connick Jr., you have issues in life that need to be resolved. Just saying. What's your biggest fear in life?
Being alone.
Alone?
Yeah. I think that's been a fear since, like,
It's a disease, okay?
like, I remember, like, being very young. And it was, like, I remember being very young and thinking to myself, like, because I'm so scared of being alone, I don't want to have the risk of, like, finding my group of people and then them leaving. So I'm just going to be by myself anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's by far at least the most consistent fear anyways.
Yeah. It's funny, Soggy and Brenny have kind of a fear of the
Drowning.
water.
Yeah, water.
Yeah, and I'm a fish. I love the water. I'm almost overconfident. When we went to Hawaii,
Right.
getting into some of them big surfs out there, and Yeah, but you're right, Soggy. Deep ocean, it feels very different when you're in the deep ocean
Right.
and you know that there's nothing below you for thousands of feet.
Yeah. Miles.
Miles in some cases. Yeah, definitely. Commitment scares you. I'm sorry if you're married. You're a poor wife. Growing old is your fear, Albert?
Is it just the stuff that comes along with getting old that scares you, or is it like because that means like
Big
death
things below
is a
you.
thing? Is that okay to ask? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's up to him to answer it if he wants to.
You don't have to answer if that's too personal. I'm just,
McGee falling from a high place. That's Veronica's, my wife's thing. She's definitely afraid of heights.
and then there's us who's like, can we go parachuting?
Yeah.
Let's go skydiving.
Yeah, definitely not afraid of heights.
We used to always, while we're on the topic of fears, Fear Factor. We would watch Fear Factor, and we were like, I remember like you turning to me and being like, once you're old enough, if this is still a show,
We
will go on Fear
yeah,
Factor
we need to
together.
absolutely go on Fear Factor.
Like, these are the type of people we are.
I could do anything. The only thing I couldn't do is the whole reindeer testicle thing. Just keep me away from that. Everything else is good.
What?
I'm in like Flynn. Let's go. Yeah, there's nothing on that Fear Factor I wouldn't do. Swimming blood, let's go. Put more in there. There's not enough. Let's get in there. That spiders crawling all over me. I see MLA is all about the spiders and heights and people. Well, that's just difficult. But that's not uncommon, actually, the large groups of people anyways.
Yeah.
Morgmean failure. So now question for you, Morgmean, with the whole failure comment. Does that motivate you or demotivate you? Because for some people that has very different responses, right? So if you say I'm fearful of failure, some people overcompensate by being overachievers, right? They just go 100% at everything.
Right.
Yeah, you better be soggy. Come at you, bro.
What are you scared of?
Right?
You.
Well, I'm fearful of going into the bathroom after you. No, I'm just kidding. Because fear can also be a straitjacket for some people where they just can't. It motivates you, so you're like, it makes you an overachiever. Yeah.
I'd rather that than the.
Well,
than
it can
the
be,
other.
both can be a negative in a lot of ways. So unless you learn to control it, right?
Right. I was gonna pick that for
Lack
you.
of control.
Lack of control.
I cannot be a passenger driver.
Yeah, and that's one of my challenges with roller coasters is that I'm a leader, to say the least, and also a driver.
That's why we go on the front of the roller coaster.
Yeah, because I need to see what's coming. Wow, that's crazy. More. I think that was probably my lowest too. Was in probably an 89 or low 90s, but that was just because I cheated all the way through. I'm kidding. I didn't cheat. I had to write papers. There was no tests in my. Let's see what else I missed. A bunch of stuff. Yeah, I think, Albert, that was one of the things that really caught me early in life as well, as this fear of death. And then, watching people around me getting older and whatnot. And that's thankfully it's waned for me because of my faith. But really, that's crazy, Dingle, that just being up high makes you feel like you're going to pass out.
I'm with Dingle. I'd just be like 89%. What?
Also, how does one measure their failure? Yeah, absolutely, Brenny.
Yeah.
Everyone, I mean, some people failure is this idea of not being perfect. Some people failure is any number of things. So not because you're scared, because you stink. Motivate. Yeah. I want to be strangled by the noodles. Wrist cheats. You nerd cheater band. I am not Morg. It's my show. I get to do what I want. When you were little, what was the one thing that you wanted to be when you grew up?
Military.
You wanted to be in the military? Until you were actually in the military, then you couldn't go to the military?
There's this really dark, profound reason why I wanted to be in the military, but
My
I won't
6-year-old
get
is a
into that.
perfectionist. Even at this age, he freaks the F out if something is not absolutely perfect. Really?
Huh?
You want to be a writer, Emily?
That's cool.
I
wouldn't
always.
have the patience for that.
Yeah. Mom said last night, because we're basically shut down
Right.
for the next however long, she
Foreseeable
said, write a
future.
book. Because we've been talking about writing a book, a
Oh.
life story type
Yeah.
thing, the journey we've been on particularly. And I'm like, yeah, no. Sounds like a good idea, but yeah, no. Yeah, I wanted to be a police officer, military police officer, always, my whole life. So have you ever thought about why you wanted to be that thing? Right? Now, you said you have a kind of a dark reason why you wanted to be
Yeah.
the thing. Right? So I'll tell you why I ask and how I asked that. So for me, I wanted to be a police officer, even at a very, very, very young age. Craig, did you know what you wanted to be when you were a little kid?
Wanted to be architect when I was younger.
Architect? Because you were,
Yeah.
little known fact about Craig, because, I mean, reality is you just met him. Craig is an accomplished musician,
Yeah.
or was.
I
Was.
don't
Still
play
are.
much anymore.
He played the violin and the alto saxophone
Yeah,
for
and
an
you-
extended period of time.
And not just haphazardly, like
Right.
in an
I
orchestra.
played it quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah, played in the symphony orchestra in town,
in town,
if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken. So, yeah, quite an accomplished musician. So,
Yeah.
kind of cool coming from somebody who has zero musical ability. More, you want to be a teacher. I'm boring. Just wanted to work with computers. Hello, whatever. Gym teacher, coach, journalist, CSI, lawyer, forensic. Oh, MLA, firefighter. So many cool jobs.
Yeah.
So for me, I wanted to be a police officer. And what I realized, especially now, as I've gone through life, I found it weird because I never became a police officer for a bunch of different reasons. But when, hey, Anna, I just realized that you're here. What's going on, kiddo? As I got older, somebody called me in business, in management, they called me a rescue manager. Because I'd come into these companies that were broken and failing financially and
Right.
whatever else was going on. And I would come in and I would do all these things and I would rescue them and whatever that meant to
Right.
them in their situation. And it dawned on me that that was my desire, ultimately, was to be
Be
a
the
superhero.
fixer.
Yeah, that's someone that swept in, saved the day, and then you flew away, right? Because that's essentially what I was doing. Because I, get in trouble all the time for switching jobs. But that's what appealed to me about being a police officer is this idea of being someone who was going to save the day, someone that was going to be a superhero, rescue people from whatever was ailing them, whatever was happening, you know? And it wasn't the desire to be a police officer so much, but a desire to be somebody who was rescuing. And I think that's what appealed to me so much about the military, is that the idea that I could step into that role. So
Right.
Albert wants to see Dingle McGee in those small little gym shorts. The Adidas ones with the slit up the side? Yeah,
Oh,
totally.
jeez. Like the 80s short
Because
shorts.
the best part is he's 6'6" Dingle, and them shorts would be teeny tiny. Be real baggy too. They wouldn't fill out very well. So I want to be able to save people from fire service community. Then I thought, for live too, but yeah, that's changed. MLA's like, I'm going to do this one day, I'm going to do that another day. And I first wanted to be a ballerina, then changed to a veterinarian. But later I went to college for teacher education. Nice. Young children. I loved kids. Motherly instincts. Nice. Oh, there's it was like a pantyhose commercial back in the 80s that had that jingle, who wears short shorts. Dingle wears short shorts. If anyone's old enough, you'll know what I'm talking about. That's
What? So on the
that's a-
topic of what you wanted to be as a child, what is something that people thought you'd be when you grew up?
Ask your question again.
Hmm?
Ask your question again.
What is something like that people thought you would be when you grew up versus what you Like a lot of people, and even Mom, you guys always said it to me, like you thought like a teacher or like a doctor or something. Like you thought I'd be a really good fit for that.
Oh, here it is. 1987.
Oof.
Or 1985, actually. Here, let's...
Do you want to hear it?
You'll hear it. The thing's on here. Here's the commercial. Here's the commercial. And I'll get banned for this, but...
Who wears short shorts? We wear short shorts. If you dare wear short
There, Dingle, this...
dare for short shorts.
Nair leaves legs smoother, longer than shaving.
Oh my gosh, what the heck? Oh, that's terrifying.
That's funny. So, Dingle, that's for you.
That is actually terrifying.
So that's what Dingle will look like.
Just hairier.
Just hairier. Yeah. That is an old commercial.
No kidding.
Get them shorts on, Dingle. Dingle, yeah, he does. You didn't know that? His legs and the hair right above his bum at the back. Shaves that all the time, too.
Y'all nasty.
I had another question I really wanted to
Hello?
ask.
Is someone here?
I honestly thought that
I'm
was
just trying to make
somebody.
some friends.
That's
I
Choco
was
Taco.
so scared for
He's
a
saying,
second. I was like,
"Hello?
who said this?
Anybody here? Just want to make some friends. Makes Dingle more aerodynamic. A bunch of goobers. You taking off? All right, go have lunch with your mom. Take it easy, buddy. We'll keep talking about you while you're gone. Don't worry.
Bye.
Let's see. Oh, I had a great question. I can't remember what it was now.
She asked you a question.
You'll see it eventually.
What?
Soggy demands an answer.
What was the question? Ask me the question again. I thought you were asking them, not me. I was looking up a commercial.
I was kind of asking you too, but
What?
no, what people thought you would do when you grew up, like as a job, versus what you thought you would be when you grew
Oh,
up.
sweep prison floors, because that's where I'd be incarcerated. They thought that's what I'd be doing.
Well, damn.
Yeah. Everyone thought I was
Honestly?
going to be, yeah. Everybody thought I was the worst kid on the block, right?
Right.
Everybody thought I was going to be a criminal. They thought I was going to be in jail somewhere and useless. And yeah, I was the bad kid, right?
I didn't think it was that dark, but
Yeah,
okay.
no, everybody thought I was going to be bad boy Neil, as Soggy says. Yeah, it's just one of those things where I was the neighborhood kid that nobody's allowed to hang around with. And
Right.
even Mom, her mom
Right.
said,
Mom
you know.
says all the time, like, Dad was the bad kid. That's
Yeah.
how I knew your father.
and I was told to stay away from him. I knew to stay away from Neil because he was the bad kid.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's what drove her to me.
Didn't she like kind of stalk you a little bit and like looked up your phone number and like called
Yeah. My senior year of high school.
you? Not to call Mom out or anything, but I remember her telling me that story.
Yeah, Albert, that doesn't surprise. I wouldn't be surprised saying that statement either. I mean, I wasn't necessarily risk averse. I was always up to no good and in trouble in some form or fashion. And I mean, in trouble with the law as a young kid. Yeah, I had no supervision, right? I mean,
Right.
I had a dad that was there but not there. I had a mom that was always gone for work and whatnot. So I had complete reign of my own life. So I did what I want when I wanted and did all kinds of stupid stuff. So, yeah, getting in trouble was super easy. There was nothing to stop me, right? And what made it worse is it was the 70s and 80s. So
Right.
the whole things that you've got students, young people have today about this, political correctness nonsense and everything else that goes on, just doesn't exist. So you could do infinitely more especially when driving, that you can't do now. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, you asked me another question.
I did.
Yeah, you asked me a question.
Pretty sure that's the
Oh,
only-
mom stalking me. Yeah, so the story she's referring to, senior in high school. Veronica and I, as I said, complete opposite ends of the spectrum with regards to who we hung around with and
how they
and
grew up.
completely different ends of the spectrum. And Veronica knew to kind of avoid me, stay away from me. And I guess my senior, because I was in the military at that point, I'd been working out and I was, in relatively good shape. Suddenly I was attractive, apparently. And I drove a Jeep, so that helped, I'm sure. One day I came home. My senior year of high school, I had a couple of classes in a co-op placement. So I went and worked for the Conservation Authority. Basically planted trees and told people they couldn't build their houses next to the river. And taped maps when there was nothing else to do. That's another thing I did. That was lots of fun. It wasn't fun. I came back to school from my co-op placement to get my books, to leave for the day because I was just getting some insurance. I just bought a new Jeep, so I was putting insurance on my Jeep. My dad was coming to pick me up. So when I came to my locker, long story short, Veronica was there waiting at her locker. And I saw your mom sitting there. I was like, oh, hey, Veronica, how you doing? She's like, oh, hey, Neil, how you doing? And that was it. I'd never really said any more to your mom besides that
Right.
over all of the years. Probably said more words in that moment than I had in the previous 6 years combined.
Yeah, because you guys went to like elementary school together. And
Oh,
stuff,
we've known
too.
each other since kindergarten.
Yeah.
Yeah. Went to my locker, grabbed my books, and as I'm getting my books out of my locker, I feel something breathing on my neck. So I turn around, and there's your mom right here.
Subtle.
And I'm like, hey, what's going on? She goes, oh, hey, what's going on? She goes, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, yeah, I got to go out. My dad's picking me up, whatever the case is. And it's just like we're chatting, doing whatever. And so I'm like, okay, I got to go. Again, thinking nothing of it. Like, And she looked at my pager number. Yeah, thanks, Soggy. And so no cell phones at that time. Went to the front of the school to use the payphone to call my dad to come pick me up. And your mom followed me all the way, not like a lost puppy dog type thing, but just followed me to the front of the school, talking to me the whole way. And I mean, not a short walk. It was a good distance because it's a larger school for the community. And I go to pick up the payphone. I'm a little verklempt. Give you a topic. Guns. Go with it. As I pick up the payphone to call my dad, she asks me, oh, by the way, do you have a girlfriend? To which I promptly reply, no. When a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl says you have a girlfriend, the answer is always no. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. So she's like, okay, here. She goes, here's my number. Call me sometime. Okay, whatever. So I take the number, put it in my pocket. Needless to say, I never called your mom. Weeks go by.
Classy.
I don't call. Very rude, Soggy. I was preoccupied. I had 3 part-time jobs. I had a new Jeep. I was not into girls at the time. I was military jobs and just getting through
All around life.
this Jeep.
The Jeep was his girlfriend.
Yes, very much so. Oh, it was like that. Yes, it was. So about 4.5, 5 weeks later, my phone rings at my house, which is weird because we had an unlisted number because Grandpa had a business at the time, so
Right.
the number was unlisted. So people didn't bug us at the house. Well, I'm like, hello? She goes, hey, it's Veronica. Why haven't you called me?
You beep.
And I'm
Why
like,
didn't you call me?
how'd you get my number? She goes, I have my ways. I got the number, whatever. She goes, oh, and by the way, we're going out tonight. I'm coming to pick you up. We're going for dinner and want to see him. I'm like, okay, whatever. So, and I'm sure if Mom was here, she'd totally correct
She
this.
would bite somebody's head off.
Yeah, she would totally correct. So, anyways, so she comes, picks me up, and the story goes.
Yes, honey.
And I'm totally awkward. Again, I'm not into the whole girl thing at this point, you know, preoccupied with mechanical things. And so we go on this date.
She really does, Soggy.
I like her style. You're doing amazing, sweetie. Yeah, she totally does. So we go out, we come back. We come back to my dad's house. My dad's out for the night. I don't know where he is, but he's out for the night. The house is dark. My dad has this like sectional couch, and this is me. Veronica sits down on one part of the sectional, and I'm sure she's expecting me to sit beside her. I sit on the complete other end of the sectional because, you know, girls, ew.
Awkward.
And I forget what movie. It was a vampire movie. But it was a newer at the time. Cooties, total cooties, Albert. I'm telling you, like visible. You can see them crawling. It was, anyways. So we're watching this vampire movie, and of course, there's the whole vampire seduces the girl and blah blah blah, and you know. And around that point, I look over, and Veronica suddenly is at the bend in the sectional, and she's slowly but surely sneaking over to get closer to me. And I don't know at what point, but at some point, this woman tackles me onto the floor, and the rest is history. 3 children later, and yeah, long story short. So that's where.
Oh gosh.
I'll leave it there. So. Oof. Yee. The TOS just got ruined. Holds bottle up, shows us the bottle where she test me, right?
Oh God.
I have.
Stop.
Let's see what else. I missed a whole bunch of things. It starts singing the Cootie song. Yes. But yeah, it was just this weird. I was so aloof, unaware completely of the ways of the women. Oh, my back is itchy. That's a clip, right? Somebody clipped that. That's golden right there. But yeah, I was completely unaware. I completely didn't know what I was doing. I'm getting a little. Is it warm in here? It's just me. All right, back to the questions because Brenny has left because we stopped asking questions. See, this is what happens. You stop asking questions. Brenny's like, screw this, I'm out. I thought Risk said he had 48 pages of questions. I was only here for the questions. If you could invent one thing, what thing would you invent? I have fleas, apparently. There's something to that. I'm going to explain something to you in a second. It's a weightlifting thing. It's funny. Mom looked it up. It's hilarious. Made me laugh. If you could invent one thing, what would you invent? And then I'll tell you my itchy backstory.
I don't know.
Time travel.
What would you invent, Craig?
Time travel.
Time travel?
Just throwing it out there.
Just I want to be first. My whole life, I have had the invention of a handheld palm sander, belt palm sander. The invention in my mind.
Like a glove?
It's like a the regular vibratory sander, but a belt sander. It rotates instead of vibrates or oscillates.
One with that big one.
Yeah. I know what a belt saw is. I can envision
Belt
it.
sander.
You said
Interesting.
You'd invent the ventilator, not something that already exists, you meatball. Something that doesn't exist. God, Soggy, at least pretend to be in the conversation. Just kidding with you, bro. Yeah, that's always. I mean, I had this drawn out as a kid, and that has always stuck in my mind. I even called the patent company one day.
Gosh.
I did. True story.
I'm so glad that Soggy and I
No,
are
they
having
don't.
the same
They don't
reaction
have.
to this.
It's because it's dangerous. Because the torque on it would be crazy.
Right.
So I don't know. You'd have to figure out some other. It could be used probably for hard surfaces, like glass and metal. I don't think you could use it for like wood because wood bites too hard.
Be too aggressive.
I know I'm not Soggy. It's actually been. I'm weak at the moment. But it's big. It's two-handed. I'm talking about a handheld, like
Right.
right because Jackson's saying it's like a chainsaw, right?
Yeah.
But no, it is a darn good idea. I'm telling you. I shouldn't have said it on stream. Now somebody's going to invent this and steal all my things. Black & Decker's watching right now. Next week, they're going to see a handheld belt sander out there and be like, dang it.
I would invent a machine that could make me less awkward of a human being.
Now you're just being ridiculous.
Yeah.
He said anything, okay? A woman can dream.
Woman can dream. Starts designing a handheld sander. Ah, Soggy. It's not nice what you say to me. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go? Right now.
Brazil.
Excluding the coronavirus, of course.
Brazil.
Brazil?
Yeah.
Now, you've been to Brazil once.
Yeah. I went there. I lived there for a month. It's wonderful. I'd go back.
Ooh, that's a neat statement. The Titanic wreckage.
Mm.
Ireland, Australia, Iceland. Now, what is it about those places that draw you to them, though? That's the question.
Culture, the people. Just, I mean, I remember, like, vividly in, like, 3rd grade, like, we had, like, a project, and we had to, like, pick a place or something, and...
It exists.
Damn it. It's not what I was thinking, though. Mine'd be better.
And I had to do a project, and I picked Brazil, and I remember vividly from, like, 3rd grade, I've been just obsessed. Like, I've had this weird romantic relationship with Brazil. And then when I went there for a month, what was it, like 2-3 years ago? Or it might be longer now.
Longer than that, yeah.
Be like 3 or 4.
Yeah,
4.
I'd say 5 or 6, but yeah.
See, this it's less awkward, people. Like, I just, like, it made it even worse.
Yeah, I'm a big Europe fan. I love anything Europe.
Yeah.
Again, this gets to the bless you. This gets to the history part of me. We talk about favorite subjects. When we went to Israel, I've been to Greece and in all those places where, I mean, you have a depth of history
Right.
in those places that you just don't, I mean, almost predates history. You know, it's just
Right.
crazy. Like,
Depending on where you go.
you think of the modern world, it comes from these cultures. It comes from these places.
Well, it's weird to think about because, like, if you want to think about the history of places and stuff, like, North America only has a recent history in terms of what we think of as North America
It's
today.
200 years, yeah.
It's like 200 years. These
Yeah,
these
very.
places have thousands of years of history. Like,
Yeah, like England, if Brenny was still here, I mean, England, they're finding stuff from 10, 15, 20,000 years ago.
right. Like, Stonehenge is
Yeah.
ancient, and they're
Crazy.
discovering civilizations even older than they thought
Yeah, I
humans
agree.
could even exist.
Yeah. MLA, that's the killer for Veronica and I. We had actually had a full trip to England, Ireland, Scotland, and then ending in Holland, scheduled for this July into August. And had to cancel it, obviously. What? You hear kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, the youth home, the prison next door. The kids are outside playing.
Oh, okay. I'm just like, what the heck is this sound?
Yeah.
It's going crazy.
No, over my shoulder behind me is literally a youth home, a youth prison next door to us, and they're outside playing in the...
Yard.
I was supposed to go to Germany. I went to Greece instead. I was actually supposed to go to Jordan, but then the Arab Spring happened, so I didn't go to Jordan. Although my son went this past January, which was awesome. I'm glad he got to go before the coronavirus hit. And then when Jordan got canceled, I was set to go to Germany. And then a good friend of mine said, no, you really need to go to Greece. So I ended up going to Greece instead. So, but yeah, Germany is another place I'd love to tour. I'd love to go to, like, again, as many of you have talked about this idea of history and whatnot, I love the history of war as well.
Right.
Like World War I,
Our
World
whole
War
family
II.
has a weird fascination with world history.
So, and then we watched 1917 the other day, and that just stirred up a whole bunch of stuff even more, where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I so want to tour Europe in all the places. Yeah, war history is just. You know what I loved? So who has seen 1917? All right, we're having this conversation right now. It is fascinating because it reeks of people and our brokenness. That's what I love about it. You've seen it twice. So 1917 to me is the epitome of what every movie should be. And it omits everything that I think ruins every movie. And that's the gratuitous violence and the gratuitous sex and the gratuitous drug use. You watch 90% of the movies that come out now have this one scene or two scenes thrown in that are completely out of context that could...
Right. The story wouldn't make sense without them.
You could remove it completely, never even mention it, and the movie would still make complete and utter sense.
Right.
It's just there to show some...
Weird thing.
Something.
Yeah.
You know? In 1917, it's set in World War I, in the midst of absolute violence and horror.
Chaos.
And they literally show two people getting shot. And they don't even show the one main character get stabbed. They show the fact that he is stabbed, but they don't show him actually get stabbed.
Physically being.
Just they show the German pilot getting shot. And I'm not ruining anything because this isn't the plot or anything like that. So, but the fact that you can have that level of character development, that much story, that much plot, that much follow through on a story,
right?
Without having all that stuff, it's just like, thank you, somebody, for doing this.
Right.
Yeah, phenomenal. Great job, MLA. I agree completely. You'd love to go to Scotland? Yeah, I'd love to go to Scotland. I mean, that whole thing, I was so excited. We were so excited to go to Scotland and Ireland and to England. And if you want to travel to Britain, the best place is Scotland. Beautiful scenery. London is hellhole. I've heard that too, actually. Although I do want to go to London just because it's London, right? London's tons and tons of history in London.
Yeah. I had my GM, her son does karate, and he went to England actually when I first started there over a year ago. Anyways, and she came back and she's like, yeah, London was insane.
Yeah,
like
sketch.
Referring to the hellhole part.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, MLA, to your point with the cinematographer, just some of the camera pans that he would do, particularly when they're just finished crossing no man's land and they go through that massive crater, and instead of following the characters as they skirt the edge of the crater, as he instead chooses to come down the crater and skirt across the surface of the water, and then meet them on the other side as they start to go up again. That scene alone to me was like, oh my gosh, so perfect. When you talk about cinematography and how you bring about the dramatic of a scene without, introducing it. You can create it just by moving the camera. It was just perfect.
My dad, the film critic, everybody.
Yeah. I'm pretty good at it. Not going to lie. The main tourist spots are good. Yeah, and that's all I would go there for, honestly. Somebody mentioned earlier something about, getting to the pubs. And all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we really wanted just to be able to go there. Yeah, no worries. Mr. Soggy Waffles. I really wanted to go to England just for the food. See if it's really as bad as everyone says. No, I'm just kidding. Restaurants are really huge right now in England. Yeah, it's funny you say that because at the end of the movie, I thought, man, I got to find the soundtrack for this movie. Because there's just some really good stuff especially at the end that really caught me. Just the way they put it together and the stuff that just fit. But the ruins, yeah. Now we're just going to talk about 1917 for the next hour and a half. Well, I think we'll take it and we'll leave it there. We've been 2 hours, 15 minutes. I appreciate you guys all hanging out. Because she's a fangirl over 1917. Let's move on. That's okay, MLA. Don't worry about it. It was a phenomenal movie. So probably we'll stream again this week. I'm not sure what or when, but bear with me. We might just come on and critique 1985 Nair commercials again, just for funsies. But we'll see. MLA, the only one that caught my joke. Thank you very much for showing up today, MLA. Everybody else is way too young. All these young whippersnappers. Appreciate all you guys. I'm going to, let's see, who are we going to raid? Let's find, everybody hang on. Let me raid somebody. Who's on? Is Air Max not on? I love my boy Air Max. Oh, he is on. Let's go raid Air Max. Just spam some emotes in there for me, please, guys. And we'll see you all later this week. Hope you're there. If you play on Dingle's Minecraft stream, please, dear God, get back on there. I'm sick of playing by myself. I've restocked my store. I've put all kinds of great books in there and whatnot. I am not a Japanese noodle. But anyways, look forward to seeing you all there. And we'll see you guys later this week. Go say hi to Air Max. Drop some emotes. Let him know that that I love him as much as I love you guys. Thanks. Ciao for now. Bye.
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 Enjoy 90 days free. Download and watch. Quick bites, big stories. Quibi.
Who needs guys? Right? Not us.